The Wii. You just gotta love this little guy, unless you hate him. But whether you like the system or not, this thing's old. I don't want to have to find a TV with AV ports or get an HDMI adapter just to play my worst nightmare. I want a way to play my favorite Wii games on a new TV without all of the hassle. Good thing they have ported some of the most well-known Wii games right here on the Nintendo Switch for some of the most reasonable prices you can find. So today we'll be going through these games to see if they are worth your money, or if you should just spend your money elsewhere. So the first game we will be talking about is the version of Mario Galaxy present in the ever-controversial Super Mario 3D All-Stars. This was a collection of the first 3 3D Mario games released for Mario's 35th anniversary. Sounds good, right? Well, a lot of the internet did not think so. I think one of the main issues was the fact that this game cost $60 and didn't really add anything to the main games. Obviously, these games look better than their original versions, but other than that, yeah, they didn't really do a whole lot. Like how, for some reason, Mario 64 just could not be upgraded to widescreen, even though Mario Sunshine was. But I think people's biggest problem with this game is the fact that, for no real reason, it was a limited time only release. Like, if it was just the physical version that was limited time, I think that most people would understand. But no, after March 31st of 2021, the game was no longer available at all. Yeah, even if you are like me and actually kind of enjoy this collection, you have to admit that this was a pretty scummy thing to do. But this video is about Wii games on the Switch, so we need to talk about the version of Mario Galaxy in this game. The game has been upscaled to 1080p, and man, this game just looks beautiful. It's not a very graphically intensive upgrade, but because this game just already looked nice, making everything a little less pixely is very appreciated. But since this was a Wii game that did use quite a few motion controls, the biggest changes here are in regard to how the motion controls are handled. The spin jump that can be performed in this game now has 2 options. You can either shake the controller like in the original version, or just simply press the Y button. This means that if you want to play this game like a more traditional game, you don't have to constantly shake the controller around. But the pointer that is present throughout the game is still controlled by pointing the controller where you want it to go. Or if you are playing in portable mode, you use the touchscreen, which isn't the most comfortable way to do it, but I can't really think of another way they would have done it. All of the minigames also still use the gyro controls, but once again, I really can't think of another way to do it, so I don't really have a problem with it. This game felt like it had the most changes to it compared to the other 2 in the package, but that is kind of because they had to make changes to make the game work better on Switch. But I can say in full confidence that this is a great version of the game, as I completely 100%ed it, Luigi mode and all, and had a good time doing it. So is this game worth the price? Well, when it first came out, yes, I would say so, especially since it came with 2 other very good games. But back to that whole limited availability thing, this game is a lot harder to get your hands on now, and you could probably get a copy of the original Mario Galaxy for cheaper than this game, so I would say that when it came out it was worth it, but in the current context, no, it's not worth it. Next up, we have Skyward Sword HD, and you know, I bought this game around when it came out back in 2021 because I had never played Skyward Sword and wanted to give it a try. But I eventually just kind of stopped playing as the game just got pretty boring, and the extent of the motion controls used in this game just kind of made it hard to just sit down and enjoy the game. But compared to the original, this game does make quite a few quality of life improvements to the game, which is very appreciated. But so many of the game's issues aren't really something you can just patch out. Like the motion controls, they gave a new option to control the sword without motion controls, but it ends up just kind of feeling more awkward than just using motion controls. And a lot of the time, the Joy-Con motion controls aren't as precise as the Wii's motion controls, which they try to counteract by giving you a reset button that allows you to recenter the direction your controller is facing, which helps, but still doesn't get rid of the problem. But even with some of these issues, if you play the Switch version, I still highly recommend that you use the motion controls because this game was completely designed around them, and using the new control scheme just feels pretty clunky. But a lot of the other improvements do really help, as V is now no longer constantly popping up to give you hints you don't want, and instead the hints are now optional if you feel like you need them. I think that it is inarguable that this is the best version of the game to play, besides some of the motion control issues, which really aren't that bad because the game makes it very easy for you to readjust. But now to the downsides. One of the quality of life features added in this game is locked behind an amiibo. That's right, if you want to unlock the very special feature of returning to the sky without one of these statues, which are placed extremely close together anyway, so it's not really that useful, you can pay a nice $25 for this figure. Yeah, it's pretty stupid to lock a quality of life feature behind an amiibo. Oh yeah, and on top of that, this game is $60. With 3D All-Stars, it was understandable. There were 3 very good games remastered on the Switch, but this is just one game with very minimal things added, and it cost more than the original did when it launched. Yeah, even though I don't hate this version of the game, and do find it to be the best version of the game, you have so many other options for Zelda on Switch, and this one just doesn't really add all that much to the original game, so no, this one is not worth it, unless maybe it's on sale, which I highly doubt. Sonic Colors Ultimate. I don't like it. As a fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog games, I am not afraid to say that Sonic Colors is one of my least favorite Sonic games. I know that this goes against the narrative that this game is like some holy grail that saved the series from utter destruction, but when you really look at it, this game does a lot of things that just make it a bad game. So much of the game is taken up by these 2D sections, which 2D sections in a 3D game aren't inherently bad, but when they control like crap and have some of the most annoying platforming I've ever performed in them, then yes, I think it's safe to say that the 2D sections in this game are not good. What really sucks is that this game does have its good moments with the level design, but the problem is that those moments are so few and far between that when they do pop up, it's just not enough to save the game for me. But what I do like about this game is the creative level theming. I have made it no secret on this channel that I love theme parks, so this game taking place on this crazy space amusement park is so cool, but I wish the levels themselves were actually good enough to make me enjoy going back to the game to see these awesome level themes. So now you all know how much I don't really care for the original game, so what do you think I think about the Switch port? Now, to be fair, this game was also released on other modern platforms, which I have heard run better, but today we'll be specifically talking about the Switch version, which has a few extra problems. To start off, the load times are miserable, and there is no real reason that this should be happening. The game loaded completely fine on the Wii, which is weaker than the Switch, so why are the load times longer on newer hardware? Along with this, the game runs at 30 FPS, which isn't a huge deal for me because that's what the original was running at, but once again, this was a Wii game, and all of the other games I've talked about run at 60 FPS, so I genuinely don't see why Colors is any different. Also, the game adds all of these new lighting effects that just don't look good. I think that it would have been better if they just upscaled it and left it at that. But this game does add new content, so what does it add? Well, you can now collect these gold coin things that allow you to buy customizations in the game shop. That all sounds fine and dandy, but most of the customizations are very ugly, and some of them are locked behind paid DLC. Yippee. You can also get like player icons, but these literally don't matter because you don't really do anything with other players in this game, so you're basically the only one who sees it. We also now have the Metal Sonic rival races, which are alright. I mean, it's the same levels, they just added a new way to play them, so they didn't really add that much. They also added a new Wisp, but the game wasn't designed with this Wisp in mind, so it adds very little to the core game. So basically what I'm saying is that this game adds nothing of value to a game that already is not very good, and the Switch version is the worst version of the port. So no, this game is not worth it on Switch. If you just have to play Sonic Colors for some reason, get the remaster on one of the other platforms, just get the original on Wii, or you could follow my advice in my Sonic Downgrades video and just play the DS version. It is leagues better than any other version of Sonic Colors. Look, if any series is going to do a port or remake right, of course it's going to be Kirby. Kirby is one of those series that rarely, if ever, lets me down, and the Switch port of Return to Dreamland is no different. Return to Dreamland was already a pretty solid entry in the series, so I was pretty excited to hear it was getting the remake treatment. The main story mode remains mostly the same as it was before, except we have 2 new copy abilities to play with that weren't in the original. First up, we have Sand, and this one's alright. It can be used in some situations, but the moveset didn't really click with me all that well. The other added ability is Mecha, and I really like this one. Its moveset had all kinds of uses, and some of the moves felt really good to pull off. That's about all the stuff added to the main mode, but trust me, there is still a lot more here. Alongside the main mode, we now have a handful of new ones, with the first being Merry Magoland. This is supposed to be some sort of amusement park set up by Magalore. It's his pastime when he's not trying to conquer the world. This basically just consists of the mini-games present in the game. The game also features more mini-games from across the series, which is really cool to see and is a nice addition. You can complete mini-games and unlock prizes like these masks you can wear during gameplay, which is a fun addition. But the big new mode we have here is Magalore Epilogue. To be honest, I haven't played the whole thing yet, but what I have played, I have absolutely loved. This game combines the most addicting gameplay loops of score attacking and slowly upgrading your moveset to become more and more powerful. The main level-to-level gameplay consists of going through each level trying to gain magic points, but by chaining attacks together on enemies and objects, you can increase your combo level, which will give you more magic points depending on how high your combo was. You also get a rank based on how many magic points you got, and man is this so addicting. Trying to chain attacks together is always fun, and the combat in this mode is also pretty fun, which makes it even better. But once you get your magic points, you don't just get a new score on the level, you can use them to upgrade Magalore. You can upgrade every single one of your abilities, which allow you to perform better in the stages. From what I have played so far, this mode is great, and I'm excited to play more of it. Overall, I think that there is no question that this game is worth it. It adds so much that wasn't there in the original game, and it's all really fun. Okay, so there have been a good bunch of Wii games ported to the Switch, and as such, I have not played them all, but there were a few notable ones that I didn't play that I still want to talk about. First, we have Xenoblade Chronicles, and I think people like this one. I have not played the games and don't really plan to, so I guess I'm happy you Xenoblade fans got a good port. We also have another Sega game with Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD. From what I heard, people aren't the biggest fan of the original Banana Blitz, so why they ported this one to the Switch I don't know, but this did lead to a pretty good remake of the original GameCube games, which was awesome to see. That Carnival Games game got a port to the Switch. That's good. The Wii was a huge part of Nintendo's history, so it's important that those games get preserved, especially since it's harder to do so with some of their weird control schemes. And while a lot of these games may have felt overpriced or didn't have much added to them, I'm still glad that they got ported to newer hardware so more people can experience these games. And there are still so many more Wii games that I would love to see get ported to the console, but only time will tell whether they happen or not. But one of the coolest things about these ports is that you can play them portably. Because I mean, it's not like you could port a Wii game onto one of Nintendo's other portables. Oh no.